He's Metz. He's Tass. It's the Metzger Tassoul Show.
What happened to the glasses?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking. I'm like, it's so funny. I remember telling you all these problems I had. You're like, dude, I'm fine, and I'm like, look who's catching me now. And then I started processing. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny because you're 6 months younger than I am, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if it was 4 months just for that number 4 to happen?
Well, dude, I can't see, I can't hear.
Oh. Are your glasses for both, for distance and for near up close? Or
just reading.
Did you get the eye test?
Yeah, I got the eye test a year ago, and it's declined ever since.
And
you to share to everybody?
Well, when I did mine, I thought it was just up the stuff close to me, and then he did something. He's like, there was these 2 lines. He's like, well, are they fuzzy or are they clear? I'm like, oh, they're a little fuzzy. Yeah, still a little fuzzy. I'm like, oh wow, they're like really clean and crisp now. I didn't realize I had a distance problem as well.
Distance, I'm good. Yeah. That I'm good for now.
Good.
But I remember when he was showing me, the doctor showing me the print, right? And I'm like, dude, no one can read that. I said, right? He goes, how about now? I said, well, yeah. I said, all you did was enlarged it. He goes, no.
That's awesome.
Dude, the glasses for reading, oh my gosh, what a difference. Yeah. I didn't realize how much of a miracle glasses were.
Right. It was pretty funny when the optometrist assistant was, you had to look in the thing, right? And she looks back through the other side of it and she's like, wow, your eyes are perfectly spaced apart. I said, ma'am, there's not much about me that's not perfect. It was hilarious, dude.
Very good.
So funny. I don't know what that means, perfectly spaced, but no idea.
Well, that's the first thing I noticed when I met you.
Yeah, I know. It was my eyes.
Right.
Look into my eyes.
Anyway, how's everybody doing? We're talking about, all right, Mr. Alvarez, Mr. Johnson. We're talking about
the holiday Wisconsin
cancellations and freezes in December. What do you do? Oh, this will be a short call.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we'll talk about it. Hold on.
We will.
There you go. But anyway, besides that, how's weather there in Wisconsin as people are jumping on here?
We had a really amazing extended summer into October. And then, in these parts, you go right from an amazing extended summer with kind of really not a fall right into winter. And then the temperature just dropped. Like it would literally, the sun was out on, I don't even know what day it is, Tuesday maybe, right? And it was 60. And then the next day it was windy and 30. And then yesterday it was pouring rain all day. It's just up and down. But anyway, it's all good. The good news is the business isn't going up and down anymore. The business is good.
The business is rocking right now.
It is.
Your business, it seems to be rocking right now.
It is.
Anyway, so I think this is a big. I don't think the topic today about cancellation and freezes in December, cancellation and freezes for summer. It's a huge issue in our industry. Period. End of story. It is. Some people in our industry don't mind it and expect it and accept it and use that as, a benefit maybe for their customers. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult to manage a business when you don't know when your revenue is going to drop or how much it's going to drop by, whether it's a month or 2 months or 3, when people want to do freezes or cancellations temporarily or whatever you want to call it. So it's very difficult to manage that whether you accept it or like that or use that as a value to your customers or not.
Right.
I also believe, and Tass, let me ask you, I believe everyone in the industry has gone through freezes during holiday seasons or summertime, and I'm not immune to that. That's something that was a big thing for me, but I've never really asked you. Was that something you used to experience?
We did, and by the way, I don't think I ever did month-to-month programs. We did term. Let me say it this way: we did term memberships. I'll say, right. And so, when we had coming up, popular seasons for us were like the February, March-ish, because Pop Warner football around here is huge. It's Monday through Thursday from 4 to 7. And there literally is no class time that a student can get to. And then, of course, coming to summer, out of summer, and out of holiday break. And so, those were uncomfortable situations and conversations. Like, wow, sorry, we don't freeze programs. And then in the industry, it's like, oh, well, you can keep your membership active for $25 a month or $50 a month or whatever it was. And that way, when you come back, your rate will still be locked in. And we did that for, a hot minute. Right. And then when I understood programs and when I understood what we do now, which we'll talk about, it made all the difference, and the conversation was so much easier and so much more refreshing. And we can go through that, one of those conversations.
So I want to ask anybody that's watching, guys, can you just tell me if you have clients or customers, whether it's okay or not? I'm not asking for justification. Just, do you have students or customers that ask to freeze their memberships around the holidays or going into summertime or any time of the year?
Right. Yes
or no? Just put it in the chat box, because if everyone says no, we're going to change the topic.
That's right.
By the way, that was the Metzger head rub Tass was just doing. That's the stress. That's the stress thing that we do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Shidoshi Luzon, good. I know he just came on board with the Elite family, so welcome aboard, sir. We're happy to have you. And it's always like taking a sip out of a fire hose when you first get started, because there's the MAIA Facebook page, the Elite, the Edge, the this, the that, all the stuff. So I'm glad you found your way to the show, sir.
All right. So everybody that is responding is saying yes. However, I see 6 responses of saying yes. Well, this show is for the 6 of you.
Not the 366 that are watching.
Congratulations. So for those of you just jumping on, the question is, again, whether it's accepted, whether you're okay with it, it doesn't matter. My question is, do you have students or customers that ask to freeze their membership or their tuition over the holidays or over the summertime or any time during the year, whether they go and play sports or do whatever? And I have a philosophy, Tass knows it. I only ask questions that.
Is that a question? Oh, that you know the answers to. That was not a question.
That's right. And I knew what you were going to say, Tass.
That's right.
Of course, you guys have that happen. And I'm not saying it's a problem for you, but I'm going to tell you this. In the world of business, it's a problem. Whether you're okay with that problem, that's a different debate. Well, it's not a debate. You could be okay with the problem. But it's a problem in business when you have people that want to freeze revenue. Unless some of you have a landlord, and I know some of you own your own buildings, but unless the bank or your landlord says, yeah, we'll freeze your mortgage payments or we'll freeze your rent payments whenever you decide you want to freeze those, well, it's difficult to run a business. So we're going to talk about how you turn a potential problem into a positive where you will never have this problem again. And this is one of those golden nuggets if you do it. Now, I will say, and by the way, chime in, and Tass, maybe you know the answer to this. I'm not processing or trying to think. But if you do a month-to-month program, I don't believe there's any way you can just not freeze someone's payments, because they'll just say, well, we're going to stop for now, and then we're going to come back after the holidays, or we're going to come back after the summer. Unless, if you do month to month, the only thing that I would say that would deter somebody from doing that, Do you know the answer to this one, Tass?
So I'm sorry. I was reading the comment. So what was the question?
The question is if you're a month-to-month school, if you don't have a term, you probably can't prevent people from freezing because they'll probably just say, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back after the holidays. But the only way to deter people from doing that, if you're a month-to-month school, is if you do what? And if you have a better answer, but do you know how you would deter that if you're a month-to-month school from having people stop for a month or two and then come back or freeze?
Yeah, well, I put in a registration fee of some sort, and then they would have to repay that if they want to come back.
That's exactly right. Yeah, look, the thing is somehow we'd want to credit that because you don't want to pay I'm making this up, $200 registration fee when you come back in a month or so. But that's not what we do. I'm just saying that's probably the only way you can get around the month-to-month. But if somebody that does month-to-month is watching this,
there's some people that do. And I'm thinking of one person, and I don't even remember the exact system, so I may be slaughtering this. But hey, listen, I know you're going to be gone, but we're going to keep having you make the payments, right? But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to work with your child on the side during class, and I'm going to, give you guys the material that he's going to need over the next 2 or 3 months. And so he's going to get a gold stripe if we do that. And so then they're giving them more time, if you will, right? Or whatever, mini private, to try and justify why they're going to keep their month-to-month going. And then they'll catch them up in classes during class or maybe 10 minutes after class. And then they keep making those payments. And then when they come back, they're where they need to be. Someone's done that. But that's a lot of work, man. That's a lot of work.
There's a lot of work. So we're going to talk in the context of terms, right? And again, I just want to be clear. And Mr. Costa, I'm going to get to your answer or your question or your statement. But here's the thing. Tassoul said it earlier. We don't sell gym memberships. We don't charge customers just to have the right to come in and train in our facility 2 or 3 times a week or whatever it is, like a gym. At a gym, you pay $70 a month and you get to go to that gym and use their equipment. Until you don't want to use it anymore, then you can cancel your membership. We sell programs, and most of you have heard this 1,000 times. Some of you have adopted it, some of you haven't. Doesn't matter, it's okay. But I just want you to understand the logic behind it, because I believe and I feel, and by the way, we have 250 locations, I think, times maybe 60,000, 50,000 students that all do this. So it's no longer a Metzger belief on this. It works everywhere around the world that people have adopted it, but maybe it's not right for you. But the thing is tangible programs. When I buy something, I really want to know what I'm buying. So if I'm buying a basic program, for example, what is the basic program? What does it include? What am I going to learn? What am I going to get? What are the services that come with the basic program? Well, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And that program is $1,500. I'm making it up, right? It's $1,500. You can choose to finance that program. But one of the things included in that program, as an example, is 12 months of martial arts classes. Whether you come 1 month a year for the next 12 years, whether you want to do all the 12 months all together, whether you want to do 3 months now, 3 months next year, 3 months, it doesn't matter. You're buying 12 months of martial arts classes, okay? What that means is if you choose to finance this instead of just pay for the program up front, we don't freeze the payments, but we also don't hide that from the customer before they enroll. So, for example, Mr. Costa, now he's talking about a 36-month or a 3-year agreement. Nobody has to do 3 years. We have programs that are 3 years. Some people don't believe in that. We don't force our customers to do 3 years. It has nothing to do with our core program, the 3 years. It's something different and extra on top of your core program. You don't ever have to do that. So I want to be clear with that. But if you let's say you're going to travel for the summer, we tell the customer before you enroll, and Mr. Costa, this would be the answer, and it's got to be signed on the new student checklist. listen, Mrs. Johnson, before you enroll, I do want to go over a couple things. Number one, or number three, or whatever it is, I want to let you know the great thing about training here, and that's how it has to start. The great thing about training with us, unlike a health club, we have families that go on vacation in the summer. We have kids that sometimes go play a sport and they're out for 2 months or 3 months. Unlike a health club, you never lose your time with us. So even though you still make your payment on your program, you won't lose that time. You will get that time back. So if you're gone for 2 months, at the end of your program, you still have 2 months where you won't be making any payments. You're going to get that free on the back end, or you're going to get it because you paid for it. Unlike a health club, if you just stop going to the gym for 3 months and you're paying your membership every single month, you've lost that time and you've lost that money. With us, you will never lose your money. You'll always get that time back. Number one. Number two, you can say this as well. If you choose, Mr. Costa, this is for you. If you choose not to add that time to the end, we can also use that in the form of a credit towards any retail purchases that you may want if you don't want the time back at the end of a program. Either way, they don't lose their money, but the key here, the point is, you say all of this stuff and explain it to the customer before they make the decision to sign up at your school. They can go across the street to the person who does month to month. They absolutely can, and I want to give them that option before they sign up at our school. But when you say it the way I said it, and Tass, I'll throw it to Tass, you will see here's what your customer will say. Oh, that's really great. That's great news. You've taken a potential negative or a problem and made it into a positive just from the way you present it before they become a student. What you cannot do is sign people up and then they come to you and say, hey, we're going to be gone in the summer for 2 months. Can we freeze our payments? And then you would try to explain it to them. Well, unlike a health club, here's the great, that's not good. And that won't work. Has to be established at the point of sale before they even enroll. Tass.
Yeah, man, there's I say a few, right? But maybe there's more than a few. There's a lot of details on the front end. They're not confusing. They're not hard. It's just understanding what to say and what to do in an enrollment conference, right? And by the way, to your point with Mr. Costa, that shouldn't be the first time they've heard about your extended time guarantee when they're going to a 36-month program, because they're ongoing in our world. They're going to an upgrade, right? So, Ms. Smith, I also just want to remind you, right, about our extended time guarantee, so on and so forth. But yeah,
by the way, Tass, let me call it out that you're using the language now, and that's what we call it. We call it an extended time guarantee, which is part of the value of any of our programs, and that's when we hit it. So I just want to you're just saying it. I want to make sure people understand the lingo, extended time guarantee.
That's exactly what that is. So I remember it was Derek DeBruyn's mom. I'll never forget. So this was a kid, number one, that wanted to try and quit 3 or 4 times, right? And I always had the conversations with him, and I think he finally earned a 2nd-degree black belt with us, and they had to get up at the end and give a little talk. And I said, well, what have you learned? Like, what's been your experience? And he goes, sir, I just learned I need to quit trying to quit. I mean, it was the best compliment I could have ever gotten, right? Because he finally figured that out. But he was one of those kids that was in Pop Warner football that I was talking about. I'll never forget, the mom came up to me and she's like, his Pop Warner schedule is here and we need to take a break. Which, take a break, the 3 worst words you can hear in your school, right? That equates to we're going to quit, right? Everyone has good intentions, but a lot of people don't make it back. Now, I'm not saying everybody. Some of you say, well, we have 30 people leave for summer and we get half of them come back. Well, they didn't all come back, right? So I said, well, what's going on? She said, well, he's got Pop Warner football and it's from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. And there's no classes he can get to. And I'm like, okay. So of course I'm trying to think about, like we all should do, right? You think of opportunities, right? So if I had a kid that was gone, I'm diving in deep a little bit here, but if I had a kid that was coming on Wednesday, that was going to be gone on Wednesday, Thursday, now I'm moving to schedule stuff, but with our schedule, they can still keep one foot in the door and come on Monday, Tuesday to get their curriculum to keep them on track to be able to earn their next rank. So I would absolutely steer them to do that. This case, he couldn't come at all, right? And so I said, hey, no worries. Listen, that's why we have our extended time guarantee. So you'll just, as a reminder, because we said this in the beginning, as a reminder, you'll still make your payments for those months. But then I said, how long is Pop Warner season? She goes, 2 months. I said, great. So I'll just add those 2 months to the end of your program. That way you're not going to lose any time. You won't lose any money. But listen, I'm excited. Is he excited for football? Like now it's not this awkward conversation anymore. Now I can, like, hey, I know I got them, right? Like they're going to stay. And now I can have a conversation about football as opposed to being so worked up about, oh, do I have to freeze their payment? Are they going to cancel? It just makes the process way, way more simple. And why we're talking about this now is we know there's 3 times a year that you lose the most amount of students by default, organically. And it's coming out of holidays, into summer, out of summer. And the reason why is because that's when routines change, right? Kids are at home and they're home for a week and a half or 2 weeks on a holiday break. And they're used to being lazy at home, playing video games or whatever they're doing. Like, I just don't want to go back to class. And then we have this natural, decline of students that will come back after the holidays, which let me throw a bone to everybody, a little bonus, which is why December, you need to get a roster of all of your students and you need to do a straight retention call for all of your people that has nothing to do with asking about anything at all. We're not asking, hey, did you get signed up for testing? Did you get signed up for the parent night out? None of those things, right? Are you coming to our holiday event? None of that stuff. It's just, and you can leave messages for this one, which we normally say don't leave messages, but for this you can. It's just, hey, Mrs. Smith, this is Mr. Tassoul calling with Championship Martial Arts. Listen, I just want to give you a call and let you know how much we appreciate you guys, how grateful we are, and we just appreciate all your confidence and all your support in our program. And look, I know I'm going to see you guys for classes. I'll see you at the graduation, but I just didn't want to let the holiday season go by without letting you guys know how much we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Is he excited to earn his next belt or whatever the situation may be? Like that is we've been hitting on this a lot. Customer service more than anything right now is extremely important. So if you do that, and if you can get ahead of that and make those calls, I will tell you that when I was a 10-year-old kid training, my Korean instructor would call my house on the old landline, and my mom would answer him. She's like, yes, sir, hang on. And she would put me on the phone with him. And I won't do the Korean accent, but I've got it down pretty good. But he would say, Shane, where have you been? Right? Like a miss you call. So this goes back, Jesus, 40 years ago already, right? They were doing miss you calls and retention calls. So that's something that you can do to get ahead of it, to hopefully prevent some of those things, because behind closed doors, you don't know what happens. You may think it's not a big deal, but when a 10-year-old gets a call from their instructor, that goes viral in their home and to their relatives. Like, oh my God, my kid's martial art instructor called. And they were just super appreciative. And we were not expecting that. That was a call out of the blue. That was amazing. Like, that's what happened. How many of you, Metz, you're a hotel snob, I'll call it. That's more Sylv than you. But I mean, I remember when hotels first started doing this. You get to the room and the phone would ring. Hey, Mr. Tassoul, it's the front desk. I'm just calling to make sure. Is the room to your liking? Is there anything that I can get for you? I remember the first time I got that call in the hotel room, I'm like, wow, that was freaking great customer service, right? But it's so easy. And now in not all of them, right? But in a lot of hotels, that's kind of a mainstream thing. But for a lot of martial arts schools, we don't make those retention calls on a regular basis, which we should be doing at least quarterly, by the way. So that's just something for you to potentially get ahead of it as well, knowing it's going to be a tough season after the holidays, and we want to get ahead of it.
So let me give a tip to everybody. A couple tips and a recap here. So it's very simple for you. Number one, he just said it in mid-stride, but it's the instructor making that call, not the program director or your office person. So that's a key detail. The instructor makes the calls to the students. Number two, extended time guarantee. You have to label this and make it a positive. For those of you just jumping on, this talk happens before they sign up and enroll in your school. You've gone through all the values and benefits. They're getting ready to enroll, and to say, there's a couple things I want to go over. Here's some points. But one of those points is, one of the great things, and I can't stress that enough, if you don't say that and make it a positive right out of the gate, they'll formulate whether that's a positive or not. One of the great things about us is we have families and social proof it, because you do. Everybody on that I asked that responded said yes. We have families that travel for the summer or gone, or kids that play sports. Unlike a health club, even though you'll still make your payments during those months you're gone, you never lose your time with us. You'll get that time back at the end, or if you decide you can use that credit towards retail. Now, why retail? You could use it towards retail, or you could use it towards a parent's night out, or whatever you do at your school. But if you do something, for example, retail will cost you money, right? But there's margins there. But if you want to use it on the reason why I didn't say parents' night out is we also teach systems to make sure you sell out of your events, whatever those are. But if you don't sell out of your events, to have one more child at your event that might cost $40 or $30 or whatever you charge doesn't cost you anything. So they can use that as a credit towards something like that if that's what you want to do, if you have extra space and room where it doesn't cost you anything.
This is important. So people need to pay attention to this. And he's going to give you reality, but conceptually, he's going to give you margins here so you understand. But I wasn't. You want to tell them? You want to do that? Well, here's the deal. I mean, if someone has $100 in credit, as an example, just using again in an example, right? And they purchase equipment that has a retail value of $100. Your cost isn't $100 on that. Your cost is only $50 or $60 potentially, whatever it is. So really, you're only out for $50-$60. You're not out the full $100.
The other thing about retail, everybody, and I'm going to go into another point, is nobody's going to spend $100 on retail in your martial arts school for gear or equipment or weapons or uniforms and then quit the next day. They're not going to do that. If you get people buying retail, or if they buy retail, they're going to stay longer. And everybody sits here, well, not everybody, but a lot of us in the industry say, how do we get our students to stay an extra year? Or how do we get our students to stay till black belt? Stop thinking that. That's very difficult. All you want to do is get your students to make it to their next class. Just focus. How can I get every student here to their next class? That's how we operate. The other thing that I want to tell you, and I'll just give you a peek behind the curtain. We have a lot of elite members, MAIA Elite, who get consulting, who's in the MAIA Elite program. And there was no complaining, nothing. They just said, man, I still watch your Metzger Tassoul show. You guys give, and thank you. Some of you think we do. Some of you think we don't. But you guys give some great information. You give away a lot of great info. Why would I give away free info when we have people paying to be in the consulting program? Here's why. On here, I believe we do give great info. If you guys just take this and run with it, you're going to be better than what you were before you watched this show, if you've never done this, and if you have a problem with freezing accounts and cancellations. But it's just a part of a bigger system that you can never understand, right? That's number one. And number two, I say this to Mr. Tassoul, who's a consultant, right? Who consults. And I say this to all of our MAIA consultants. The people that have been in our MAIA program, I asked the consultants, what do you think they're paying for? Are they paying for education and knowledge? Like right now, we're giving education. Some of you on here never had this or thought about it or presented it this way. You're getting educated on a better way maybe to present. That's not what the MAIA Elite people pay. That's what they pay for in the very beginning. But what do they really pay for?
Yeah, they're paying for the accountability. That's what
they pay for accountability. So I know there's a lot of you on here that are listening that may be agreeing that will never implement. Or you'll implement and you won't follow through. And a month from now, it won't be implemented anymore, right? But I wish it would be, because I'm going to say this again from our standpoint. The reason we do what we do is to professionalize and maximize our industry in the martial arts. Period. End of story. If we can make you more successful, you're going to impact more people in your community. More importantly, or as important, those people you impact in the community that you get to stay with you to black belt, you're going to give them an opportunity to have a career in martial arts. And then we're going to grow together. So there's not a debate, and that's the other problem. I mean, I feel like our martial arts industry is like the politics a little bit. I mean, did anybody see the Republican debate yesterday? I mean, it looks like we're not even on the same side, or the Democrat. Like, what the hell's going on here, right? We need to work together and build each other up and not bash each other when we may disagree. For example, I do month to month. You suck. You do terms. That's ridiculous. I don't trap my people into commitments and this and that. Will you shut your mouth and listen to how we present this? Because you're just making your own belief system. I don't fault anybody that does a month to month or a term. Whatever works best for you. However, I would discuss the differences and the positives on why I do a term, when I used to do month to month, when I used to do class to class, by the way. I didn't even do month to month. I did class to class. But it doesn't matter. The thing is stop bashing, start working together, and build up the industry and professionalize the industry. If you have a competitor down the street from you that is whacking kids with bamboo sticks, or is unprofessional, or is a dirty school, piss poor instruction, people that go there and see martial arts probably will quit. There's a percentage that will find another school. But what you don't know is the percentage of people that say, oh my God, we tried martial arts, never again. It was a disaster. It doesn't help anybody. So understand the key on the things that we're teaching you here. Here's the biggest thing you can take away from this call. I don't care if you charge $1,000 to test people for their next belt. That's okay, as long as you let your customers know before they sign up at your school what you're going to do and how it's going to work. That's the biggest key here. So whatever you're doing, just make sure you're transparent before somebody enrolls in your school. And if I look at you and you say, hey, by the way, we charge $1,000 for a belt test, I just want to let you know before you sign up with us. And I go, that's totally fine. Don't care. That's great. And I want to sign up with you. It's no longer a problem. So same thing with the extended time guarantee. You got to tell people beforehand, you're not going to freeze payments, but you will freeze time. That's the difference.
Yeah. And, you just reiterating what you said with, given the information on the Metzger Tassoul Show, on some webinars, you guys are getting a puzzle piece of a 500-piece puzzle, and it's next to impossible to put all that together on your own, right? Not that you can't do it, but to have it work where it's all the pieces fit the right way, that's a very difficult thing to do. And in addition to the accountability, right, there's on the education side, we oftentimes give you a 20,000-foot view, and then we zoom in a little bit, but there's some very small details that we just don't have, quite frankly, the time to be able to explain, because then people have questions and what about this and then it spirals in. That's where the one-on-one coaching and one-on-one consulting happens. But it's those details, and I know as cliche as it sounds, we've all heard it, like small hinges swing big doors, right? It's never been more true, and that's the other big thing about it. So if it's something that you want to do, right, anytime you guys see us on here and you hear us talk, first of all, give us a call or just reach out to us, and we'll jump on a call with you and just chat with you and give you some great advice. And if you see there's value there and we think we could help you and benefit you, we'll let you know that as well, right? And it's ultimately the choice is yours as to what you want to do. But we're too far. And I saw a post and I don't even know, someone maybe watching this, but I saw a post yesterday, and I'm just going to pull it up. Like this, in my opinion, you're talking about the industry. I can't show it to you, but I can show it to you, I think.
Thank you, Tess. While you're looking for that, will the martial arts show make a comeback? That's the plan. And here's another thing. I don't want the industry making up their own truths on, I can't believe they're not doing a show. You guys go do $1 million show, right? I mean, there's reasons, but yes, that is the plan, and we'll let people know as news comes about. What does that say, Tass?
A rummage and bake sale. So they're apparently going to have baked goods at their martial arts school, and then everyone's going to bring their old martial arts equipment, and then they're going to, I don't know if they're going to swap or they're going to sell it for cheap or what they're going to do, right? But I know you guys do that down your scums, but I'm just right, like
Right in a headgear for a cupcake.
yeah, guys. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, we need to make sure that we're perfect. That's clip art from the '80s. I mean, you got Canva. You have Canva that can make you look way more professional. By the way, if you're going to do an event like that, which I don't suggest that you do, right? Like,
Don't bash now. Don't bash.
Yeah, well, I am because why are look we the reality is we don't make a whole lot on retail, right? That's the reality. So someone could argue, well, then why do you care? Well, I care because I care about the culture of our school, right? Like, I don't want to have our school be a rummage sale for sparring gear and for used equipment. That's not the clientele that I want to attract. And by the way, we do have scholarship programs for those that are less fortunate that we actually will help and we will work with. But those are the far and few between of people that want to do that, and they come to us. They genuinely want to train. That they want their child trained, but they just can't afford it. We've got programs for that, right? But we're not doing bake sales and rummage sales at our school. That's a school that needs help financially, right? That's a school that needs some systems put in place so you don't have to do some things like that. And again, I don't know who that is. So if it's you, I'm not apologizing for it. I'm telling you, call and ask for help because we can
Mark,
get you
take that post down.
Take that post down. But this is, look, we're all martial arts schools, I like, we're family, so I don't need somebody seeing that. And so, oh, do you see what this martial arts school is doing? They're doing this bake sale and this rummage sale, the martial arts. It's just weird, man. So we do need to professionalize the industry. We need to use better images and quality stuff that we're doing. And I'm getting off on a tangent, right? But look, you guys, some of us have logos from 1982 yet that we have in our school. Like, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but every major company, every major brand out there has changed their logo over the years, and they refresh because the style. I'll never forget when we went to this one school in town. My mom drove by. She goes, "What's Original Marital Systems?" I'm like, "Oh my God, mother!" It was Original Martial Systems. Like, but she had no idea what that was, right? Or you have the name of your style. Even me, right? Taekwondo. That's more mainstream. Right next to karate. Taekwondo would probably be more mainstream. We don't put that up on the thing. Nobody knows what that even is, right? So think about your marketing. They especially don't know what your style is, right? Show. You're going to spend all money on channel letters. Show and rue. You're not doing yourself any service by letting people know who you are, what you do. They have no idea if you're an Asian restaurant, a Chinese buffet. They have no idea. I don't say that disrespectfully, but I'm saying that if you want to be taken more seriously, if you want to generate more revenue, if you want to be a martial arts school, you got to look at your marketing as well and your brand and say, what am I doing to bring people in? Because if we're losing people from our school that we've worked so hard, even with all these obstacles in front of us to get in, and we know that we're losing people at the end of the holidays, coming into summer and coming out of summer, well, let's make our job easier to attract new people by getting rid of some of these barriers with the brands we use and what we're putting out in the community. So anyway, that's my rant on that. Sorry.
Nicely said, Tass. Nicely said. I have another question. I have two different family members, one from each that want to quit. We give the time to the other member. Both members are paid in full. So look, yes, you can do that. You can transfer it. What do we allow? Transfer one time to a family member, a friend or family member. Yeah, we allow people to transfer to a friend or family member. You can do that. But the key thing here, though, is, listen, Mr. Costa. So this is, I'm not even going to go into detail on this because Mr. Costa, you're in the family, and people watching this won't understand. But you know about our family plan. This is one of those reasons why we have that family plan. Because if you have 4 people training, not saying you do on here, but if you really are up on that when they enroll, saying, look, you're getting 2 kids enrolled or 2 parents, whoever it is, 2 family members. By the way, in our basic program, all additional family members can train free in the basic program. People on here in that context right now would think that's crazy right now. But when one quits, we explain to them that if, and this is a big detail, Mr. Costa, if you do that, or anybody watching that has a family plan like this, when I say, if you're enrolling 2 children, and I say, by the way, Mrs. Johnson, you and your husband or you or any of the adults in the household can train free in our basic program. We have a great adult program as well, and there's no cost in the basic program. does not mean they could just pop in and out whenever they want. If they want to take you up on that free family offer, that family plan offer, their names go on the agreement as well, because they will be held to the same standards as a student. And it's not just come in when you want, not when you want. If a child was to quit, that family member that was free becomes the second paying family member now. So that protects you on this. But if you don't have that, yes, they can transfer that. They can transfer it to the other child if they want, or they could use it towards credit, and by the way, it depends on the family too. Like, is there a real reason? Is it like the kid's just bored? Well, that we have to overcome. We got to find out the reason why they're quitting. Did the kid break his legs? Then we're giving refunds. Is the kid, what we need to know that
not if his legs are broken. That's not a permanent medical disability. The kid can come back.
And we freeze time. We don't freeze payments.
But Mr. Costa, you're asking a question which has multiple different approaches, because he's saying it like we don't know the reason why they want to do it, number one, right? That's number one. Number two, if we can't overcome it, can we overcome it with extended time guarantee? If we can't do that, can we add the time to the other family member? And there's options there that we have, and it's a unique situation because it happens to deal with another family member that's trained. So you just want to be careful how you handle some of those situations. But there's a system, and we do this first, and then this, and then this, and we work our way down, and we figure that out. But any student that wants
a word from our sponsor as you're talking. Hold on.
Go ahead.
There it is.
Oh, learn more about MAIA at themaiagroup.com. But this is why it's, regardless of, people ask the question, well, what do I do if somebody wants to quit? Well, I don't know. What do you normally do when somebody wants to quit? Like, that's the question I would ask you, right?
Do you have a policy is the question. A policy. And before you finish your thought, I want people to think about whatever you say here, that don't do something for one that you can't do for every student, because it's not fair. So there needs to be a policy. That policy needs to be explained upon entry before they enroll. But go ahead, Tass. I just want to make sure people understand that.
Yeah, but you need to understand. I don't think anyone on here. Let me rephrase. Some of you are going to say, "Well, we just canceled. We don't want to deal with the headache." Okay, well, I guess if that's your system and your policy, cool, right? I don't agree with it, because what if the kid was he got hit in the head from his sparring class last class, and we need to do a quick little private lesson with him to get him build his confidence back up, and he's good to go, right? We just don't know what the reasons are. So I think the answer would be, you sit down and you find out what's the why, and then based off of the policies that you have in place, you work with that family to figure out which option works best for them. That's it.
But by the way,
and this comes back to what Metzger always says. Watch. Well, I want to cancel my program. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, we don't have a cancellation policy, or we have a strict no cancellation policy. Good. Does your customer or client feel like they're empowered to make a decision? You've just given them the only option is no. And what do you think is going to happen? This is going to happen. But when you figure out and you ask questions as to why is it that they're having challenges, why do they want to cancel? How can we help overcome these options? Okay, by the way, here's some options for you. What would you like to do? Well, now they're empowered to pick an option that works best for them. It's all about options. It's always been all about options.
And the other thing too, and Mr. Costa, here's the other thing. The other thing too, for all of you, I will never allow a student just to quit that's been with us that's been training, where the child's into it, loves it. Parents get laid off, they can't afford it, and they quit. And when I say quit, I'm not saying I'll keep charging them. I'm not going to have somebody leave because honestly, realistically, they just went through a divorce. They lost their jobs. They have no income, and the kid loves it. We're not kicking anyone out of our school when that happens. There's so many details here, but here's the other thing I want to say with Tassoul. Of course, you guys know this. Let me just give you this last tip before we bore all of you to death. The last tip is if somebody says, hey, Johnny wants to we need to cancel Johnny's membership. Of course, most of you will say, why? What's going on? What's happening? He just doesn't want to come anymore. And you're going to just focus on that. You're going to focus like, we're going to do other things. We're going to do this. And you're going to try to overcome the reasons why they want to quit right now, as opposed to Start asking them, well, no problem, but let me ask you, when you first enrolled Johnny, what was it that you wanted? Why did you enroll him? What was it that you were looking for him to get out of this program? Bring them back to why they enrolled. And if you're not doing that, by the way, because here's the answer you'll get if you don't have a system in place, which we have an enrollment, everything ties together. They're going to say, well, because his friend was here and it was fun and he wanted to try karate or martial arts or whatever it is. Well, that's not a good enough reason. There's no picture painting with that, because right now he doesn't. He wants to do this. Okay, well, he can leave. When someone enrolls, we have a 4 steps of selling, 4-step enrollment process, right? Talk about the customer, specifically tell how you're going to help that customer with their wants and needs, pre-frame an upgrade if you have it, and then go over your program and pricing. But if a parent says, oh, Johnny just wants to do martial arts, we say, well, as a parent, what would you like to see him get out of the program? If they don't know, we'll give them options. Well, a lot of parents bring their kids here for discipline or focus or confidence or respect or whatever, physical fitness. Out of these things, what would you like to see your child specifically get out of the program? All of the above. And he will. You're going to get all those. But if there was one, what would it be? I got to nail the parent down, because then they'll think and they'll say, you know what, confidence. And it's this simple, guys. Well, why that over all the others? What made you say confidence? Now they're going to start talking about their child and giving examples. Fast forward now to when they want to quit. Do you remember, Mrs. Johnson, why you first enrolled your child? Do you remember what you told me? Whether they remember or not, we have it. So we'll pull that out when they come. Oh, I remember. You said confidence. And do you remember why you said confidence? He got picked on. He got bullied. He didn't have friends. He got teased. Whatever their reasons were. How are we doing with that? Well, he still gets, but Mrs. Johnson, you've been here for only 7 months or 6 months. Remember when you enrolled? I told you it takes time. How important is that to you today? By the way, are you not seeing in our classes how in time this is going to help them? Are we not doing our job? I need to know that too. So now you bring them back to that and you start reminding them, and you find out if it's an issue in your classes. And then they'll say, well, yeah, I just think classes are too big, or they're not getting enough attention. You know what? Can you give me 30 days? I want to fix this. I want to give the attention. I want to make sure we're doing our job. I wish you would have come to me sooner, but we're going to fix this. Can you give me just 30 more days? What? So there's a process here. When somebody wants to quit your school, even if they say we want to go do baseball, remember this. They see value in something else over you. Period. End of story. We got to build up the value in what we do. That's why Tassoul said earlier, our biggest focus right now is culture and customer service. More than anything, culture and customer service. So, and by the way, no matter how good you think you are, your numbers won't lie. Your attrition rate will tell us how good you are. That's it. Thank you, Tess. Thank you, Mr. Shane.
Well done. Well done.
So anyway,
we're here for you guys.
Guarantee. Freeze time, not payments.
There you go. There you go. And look, time's ticking. We got a few weeks to the holiday event. Going to be excited to see what unfolds and how people close out the year. So it'll be exciting. So we're here for you guys. If you need us, certainly let us know. I'm not sure. I know Mr. Shidoshi Lou was on here. I know we've got some other new clients. Welcome to the family. Excited to work with you guys. And I know, with a lot of people that are coming on board right now, and with all of our clients, we're making a big ripple. We're making a dent. We're making a difference. And that's, by the way, a difference in your revenue. But when we're as business coaches or consultants, right? Make no mistake about it. It's about having great martial artists in your school as well, right? We just did a tournament. I'll brag on my kids for a second. We just had a tournament this last weekend. We walked out with 4 grand champions, right? So it's not just about the business systems. It's about the students you produce, the product that you have. And
about kicking ass.
That's about kicking ass, baby, and taking grand champions. No, make sure that your floor is strong. Make sure that your floor is tight, and do a checkup from the neck up, right? Because if you've been on that floor for 10 years, 5 years, 4 years, right? You may think it's strong, but we kind of settle into kind of doing the same things over and over and over again. Maybe record a class or two and go back and just you watch it, because you'll be your own worst critic, and you might see some things that you can fix. And just a few tweaks in class, You'll know when you're doing it right because the parents, I'm telling you, the parents will tell you when you're doing it right. Like, wow, that was a great class. If you're not getting that, that needs to be your goal from now through the end of the year. Your goal has got to be every class, you need to get feedback from a parent about how amazing that class was. In order to do that, teach a great class, but then also it's going to force you to go mingle with your parents for a few minutes before or after class to give them the opportunity to say that to you. And that's having good customer service and good customer relations as well. So,
and here's what some of you are thinking right now. Well, I'm a one-man or one-woman show. I don't have time to get to every parent. We have systems for that. But this is my point. This is why we have people in the elite program, because everything ties together. And I see like the Can-Am kid. Great review, thanks. Well, we have people in the elite program that sometimes get back into, routines and stuff, and it's a great review. We all need to be reminded that's the accountability issue. Okay, so
right on.
Well, thank you guys, appreciate it. 2 weeks from today is Thanksgiving, right?
I will expect my Thanksgiving Day basket from you this year again as normal.
Yep, it will be there, absolutely. So enjoy your holidays. We may see you the week after that. We may not.
Who, me? Me?
No, the group, the team.
Oh, the group. I was going to say, no, I'm not coming down the week after that.
The industry.
Yeah, we may. We'll see, right? That might be, is that the week before the holiday event? It is. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Right on.
Anyway, we'll be back.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.